Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 149 of my brand new Comics Haul series where I show you guys all the new books that I pick up at my LCS every week. Good week of books here. I've got 7 issues. I've got, I think, 3 from Image and 4 from Marvel. Some big releases from both publishers, so let's just get right into it here. Probably the biggest release of the week. I heard the first issue of this series sold like, I don't know, a few 100,000 copies or something crazy like that. So big revival for Marvel Comics with the Ultimate Universe here. This is Ultimate Spider-Man number 2. This is pretty long anticipated. It feels like it's been at least a month since the last issue came out, maybe even a few weeks more than that. I really like the artwork of the first issue. The writing I was like kind of skeptical about. I'm just not really having come to a decision about the series yet. It was definitely not the most exciting first issue, but I do like how daring the series is in completely changing Peter Parker's status quo. It's a very different version of Spider-Man that we haven't seen before. But like you're seeing here, is a lot of just characters talking to each other. We've got Uncle Ben still alive in this universe. Peter Parker is a married man with kids. This isn't really spoilers. I mean, this is kind of what they've been teasing the whole time. But the idea behind the new Ultimate Universe, which I find kind of interesting that they're bringing into each of these individual titles since the Ultimate Invasion series, is that the maker has redone this universe in his own image so that heroes like Spider-Man never existed. But now Tony Stark and the Reed Richards that's like dressed up as Doctor Doom in this universe are going around and giving heroes the option, who have been dormant this whole time like Spider-Man, the option to fulfill their destinies, I guess. So it looks like we have some different version of the black suit in here. He doesn't actually have the full Spider-Man look, but on the covers he's been, wearing the classic red suit. I don't know if that's just marketing or what, but yeah, we'll see about this one. Looking forward to seeing how that continues to be. Next up, though, big issue that's part of the Fall of the House of X event. This is Rise of the Powers of 10. So this goes hand in hand with Fall of House of X, which I guess they're just naming this entire last section of the Fall of X event, which has already been happening for like half a year now. We've got RB Silva on artwork here, who did the original Powers of 10 series. The titles get so confusing. This one feels really far removed from that though. It deals a lot less with like Moira's lives, which it really seemed like the original Powers of X was all about. This one has more to do with like these entities that can be world-ending that Kieran Gillen I think has been building up in like the Sins of Sinister event and everything that he's been doing throughout his time on Immortal X-Men. So honestly, it's not something I'm too in tune with. I hopped back on X-Men titles when Fall of X started with that Hellfire Gala one-shot. So I really have been like, I pretty much skipped the entire Kieran Gillen era, and I know he's done a few titles for X-Men and built up a kind of confusing, honestly, like whole side plot that's been going on this whole time with Sins of Sinister and whatnot. So I'm forgetting what they're called, but maybe like deviations or something. There's these like universe-ending entities that are somehow related to Orcus, and it has to do with alternating timelines and how Professor X in the present is trying to avoid a possible future where Orcus wins. So it's pretty connected to what's happening in Fall of the House of X, but honestly, you don't need to read them together like you did for House of X and Powers of 10. I'm not too sure about this yet. I think I'm enjoying House of X, that side of things, a little bit more because it's just more of a classic Marvel event, but I'm curious to know what you guys are thinking of this down in the comments, and whether you're just excited for the new X-Men era at this point. Next up, though, this is the last issue of this run. We've got Guardians of the Galaxy Annual number 1. It's not really an annual in the traditional sense. This is connected to an ongoing storyline, and it's actually wrapping up that whole 10 or 11 issue arc that already was going on in Guardians of the Galaxy. This has been really good. It's honestly a huge recommendation from me. Even though it's ending, it sounds like they probably didn't have great sales or whatnot. But this is a good example of what the artwork is going to look like in here by Kev Walker. Really big galactic stuff, and we have a huge showdown happening in this last issue. This is my first real exposure to Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing as writers. Feels like they've been taking over the comic industry lately. They have a lot of titles from a lot of different publishers, but I thought they captured the Guardians' like ragtag spirit really well. We saw them in one of their lowest places, having lost Groot, who's now become like this world-eating being, some like more powerful version of himself. They've been getting to the bottom of what was actually going on and how Groot was actually trying to help people. It's ended up involving Peter Quill's sister from Spartax. I won't show that page. That's kind of a spoiler. But a lot of characters involved here. I've really liked how they've handled like Rocket Raccoon, missing Groot, and all that kind of stuff. Looking forward to seeing how they end it. I kind of wish this run was longer, but I thought they did good, like stretching the Groot Fall arc to give it enough time to breathe and everything over like 12 issues or however long it ended up being. Next up from Marvel, this is the last issue I got from them this week. We got Incredible Hulk number 9. This one has some guest art, but it's still Philip Kennedy Johnson writing. This one has been good so far. I think my main complaint with this series for most issues is just that there's not enough dialogue. That's always been a pet peeve of mine when it comes to comics, is issues that, like, even if the artwork is really amazing, if there's just really really sparse dialogue on each page and I read through it in like a couple minutes, I feel like I got ripped off. This one, maybe it looks like it's a little bit better, but I'm liking the art style here. I liked it for the guest artists. I think they had Travel Foreman on before Nick Klein came back on for that third arc or whatever. It was a very distinct style, right? Almost verging on abstract. So this looks a little bit more cartoony, and I appreciate them going for different styles for different arcs. It kind of reminds me of Immortal Hulk. I remember there being a pretty wide variety outside of Joe Bennett. And this is a lot of. There's a lot of other reasons why this run is similar to that one, right? They're both pretty horror themed. This one really does lean into like the monster side of the Marvel universe, though, and we got crazy body transformations again. So I'm looking forward to this and seeing what their long term plan is. I know we got the Mother of Monsters, Mother of Horrors is supposed to pop up eventually in this run. It seems like they have a really long term plan. So hopefully it has enough support that Philip Kennedy Johnson can carry out his whole plan there. Next up, moving on to Image, though. I forgot I was getting this one, honestly, but then I saw that I had ordered it. It was on my pull list. We've got Spawn number 350. This is a really big issue. It's supposed to reveal who's going to take over the throne of hell, which the way they're marketing it, I guess it's been absent for like hundreds of issues of Spawn now, so it should be a pretty landmark issue. It looks like Rory McConville is actually writing this. Todd McFarlane is somewhat involved in like the plot, but he hasn't been writing the main Spawn title for a while. The cool thing about this issue, though, is the Brett Booth artwork. He's moving from Gunslinger to the main title. I think the artists for those two titles are actually just swapping. But mainly why I wanted to pick this one up was because they're rolling out a bunch of new Spawn's Universe titles over the next few months. They're doing like a Sam and Twitch series, some cool stuff like that. I've dropped all of the Spawn's Universe titles since they did their initial launch. I just kind of teetered out in all of them. I wasn't really enjoying them that much, but it's always been something I'm interested in. I like the concepts behind Spawn, so maybe I'll try out a couple of those new titles. They still only charge $3 a month, so it's always very well worth the price to pick up a Spawn comic. This one I think costs $5 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but you get like 40 pages of content or whatever it might be, and really top tier artwork. So looking forward to this one. We'll see what the future holds for Spawn. Next up from Image, another pretty big release here. We got Cobra Commander number 2. This is part of the Energon universe. That first issue, I did like it. I did a review if you guys want to see some more of my thoughts on that one. It felt like I was kind of going into the deep end of something I didn't know anything about, though. It was involving Cobra Law, which is like this land that Cobra Commander comes from. That I'm forgetting if it was like under the sea, maybe, kind of like Atlantis-esque. And then it showed him going on this mission that involves Autobots and what their impact has been on the world. So I'm really liking how connected the G.I. Joe and Transformers side of things has been. But, you know, Cobra Commander isn't a character I'm very familiar with. I understand so far, based on the first issue, that he's just kind of a ruthless killer. I know he's the main villain in the G.I. Joe universe, and I'm curious to see what their long-term plan is for G.I. Joe in the Energon universe. Like, I don't know if they're going to do an ongoing series, because I know that Image also has like an already ongoing G.I. Joe series that's separate from everything going on in this universe. And I won't get to the spoiler that we saw halfway through that first issue of Cobra Commander. You got to read that for yourself. But yeah, we'll see about this. Probably not my favorite, Energon universe title so far, but I'll stick with it for now for sure. Lastly, from Image Comics, though, this is kind of a sleeper hit that I've actually been liking a lot. It's Knights number 5. I don't even know how to begin to get to the premise of this book. It's set in, I think, Miami. It has to do with this family with all these oddball members in this kind of fantastical world, right? So there's like ghosts and vampires. The main character is at school right now. He has like aspirations, and that's pretty much it. I mean, it's kind of like a coming of age story, but then there's so many fantastical elements and cool things happening. Yeah, I mean, just read it for yourself, I'd say. It's a lot of fun. There's like music that goes with every single issue also. I've been meaning to get to those. So, yeah, we'll see how this is. But Knights number 5, I'm not sure how long they're planning on keeping this one going either. It seems like it's just ongoing because we've got a lot of plot lines that have been developing over a long time. And yeah, good artwork. It's like kind of simplistic style, but I've been liking it. And cool coloring. That's Knights number 5. So those were all the issues I picked up this week. I've got a lot of reading to catch up on, actually, with all those issues and like a good amount from the last couple of weeks. So I'll have to get to that sometime soon. But let me know what you're looking forward to reading, what you already picked up down in the comment section below. Appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.